This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 14.
Welcome to the show that focuses on helping real estate agents build a bulletproof business plan so that they can sell more properties in less time and live a more fulfilled life.
Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan to help you get there? Well, then you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to build a better real estate agent business, I've created a free jumpstart course for you at freeagentgift.com. All right, so let's get started here. In this episode, I want to cover the beginning of a new year. Here we go. It's the start of 2018, just a couple of hours left in 2017. And the first point that I want to make here at the end of the year is don't start 2018 by focusing on what went wrong in 2017. I think that's one of the things we do when we tend to get to the end of the year and you look at your real estate agent business and you say to yourself, no, it's just not what I wanted. I expected to be further along. I thought this would be better off. Whatever it is, you really focus on what went wrong, when the truth is, if you just take a heartbeat and really think through it, a lot of things go right. Real estate agency is a really tough business. We know that this is the single largest financial and emotional transaction most people make in a lifetime. So guess what? When they go crazy, they take it out on you, the real estate agent. And that can be very disheartening. And that can really actually take your whole psychology as a business person and just suck the life out of it. I understand that. But the truth is, those are moments that are cast as part of the entire story of what just happened in 2017. I'll guarantee you that all of you can find some things that most definitely went right for you. There's no doubt about it. I can think of all the bad things because they're highlighted and they're exacerbated and they don't make you feel good. But there are some really high moments where sometimes they're so good, we don't even recognize them. That moment when you really help somebody and you two are really getting along perfectly well and everything's just really clicking. And all of a sudden you just kind of forget those moments because they're so good and so exciting. So the first point we make here is, as you begin 2018, focus on what went right last year as you build your plan, not what went wrong. And again, this is about building that plan, right? Everybody wants to get to 2018 and I need a new plan and I need a better plan. That's great. That's fine. That's good inspiration. But it's also an artificial time frame where all of a sudden we're supposed to stop what just happened and start all over again. And I succumb to this too. It's the psychology that the calendar wants us to believe, and probably somebody who's been marketing to us, conditioning our thinking. But a plan is an evolution. It's a constant evolution of your business. So the next point I want to make as you're developing this is you must make room for the manager's point of view. It's very easy when you're running a business and you're doing what you do to just say, oh, well, I'll do it a little bit differently this time. So the next time I list a house, I'll go through this process technically a little bit differently. Instead of having a manager's viewpoint about your listing business in general, your buyer business in general, whatever it might be, that's the manager's perspective. If you want to deep dive into that point, it's a great time of year to go back and listen to the E-Myth or the E-Myth Real Estate Brokerage by Michael Gerber. Either one of those, they're both good. But really what they're saying is, as you build the plan for the future, any of you small business people that might be listening in that aren't in real estate agency, this would apply to you as well. You need to understand that we all have that entrepreneurial spirit. That's not an entrepreneur. We have that spirit. It's that desire to express our creative freedom through small business. That's the entrepreneurial vision. That's the visionary. But yet most of us just go right to doing all the technical work and we make all the adjustments on the technical work, but we never stop and pause to say, how do I see this whole thing working? See, the work of planning at the beginning of a new year is a manager's job. It might lay a little bit off on the visionary. The visionary has the idea for the business that works, sure. But it's the manager's job to say, okay, well, that's a pretty good vision for a real estate agency business that goes from X to Y. Let's say you want to go from 0 to 100 because you're new. Let's say you want to go from 100 to 250 because you're just getting people. 250 up to, say, 650 because you're really getting leverage. And now you want a brokerage. You want to go over $1 million. In all of those cases, you need to allow time, not just at the end of the year, but during the year, to say, what are the modules that will manage that? And again, I say this every year to everybody that listens into the TRC. You have to remember that there is marketing as an entire module by itself. It is not something that makes any business. The only reason for marketing is so that we can tell somebody out there in the internet sphere or wherever your sphere of influence, wherever they are, you're trying to tell them what's unique about the service you offer in the context of your business, in our case, real estate. So make room for that manager to manage marketing, not just to do marketing, to manage it. And then, of course, when you're in the service business, it's that process of managing conversion. You see, those are the words of a manager, somebody who's trying to just get this plan in place. Next, set a clear revenue goal this year. I think that's the biggest mistake I see with real estate agents, is that they never really set a clear revenue goal. Ask somebody how much revenue they want to do. And this is before splits. No matter what brokerage you're at or if you own your own, the easiest number to shoot for in our industry is revenue, as it is in all businesses. If you look at any income statement, it leads with revenue. So rather than worrying about all the micro details of the math over the course of the next 365 days in 2018, you just want to pick a number. Pick a number. Is it $40,000 to $60,000? I had 3 agents sitting in the office at the Griffin Realty Group the other day, and we were sitting down and said, just be clear. What's the number? And most importantly, set it down somewhere in writing. You can digitize it in a mind map, or I suggest take a pencil and a paper and write it. Get it out of your head and onto the paper. It's amazing how that one little guiding light, that clear revenue target, and make it reasonable. Don't do something goofy and just pretend you're going to go do $1 million when you absolutely have never even allowed for management. Set a reasonable goal based on the averages that are happening in the marketplace that you want to go for. And sure, goose it up. If you want a stretch number, make it a second number, but make something planned out for revenue target that is reasonable for 2018. If you blow through that halfway through the year, a quarter through the year, wonderful. That means you're really beginning to manage your business better. The next point is a toughie, and I have to lean in here a little bit more abrasively. You have to commit with all that you have to follow up in conversion. I call that the conversion module when we're talking in the TRC. It is very, very, very important to make sure that you lean in and discipline yourself right there. You see, one of the reasons we always feel discombobulated throughout the year, or we look back and we say, oh my gosh, I was so unorganized, is it's like going to the gym when you really don't want to. You have to commit the constant attack on yourself, really, and build out of your self-discipline. So in other words, attack laziness, build in self-discipline to even put the smallest of touches on a consistency and follow-up in conversion. It is just so critical. And the final point in this podcast for getting ready for the end of the year, and I'll get a little bit more specific next week as the year begins, but it's this. It's a mindset thing. Resist the urge to whine and complain. It's so easy to do. This world has become wildly overwhelming. There is so much information online. There are so many opinions of what you should be doing with your plan. Everybody has so much weight that they're leveraging over their right on top of their shoulders by just opening up their darn computers and their phones. Stop complaining about all of that, because it's up to us to edit it all out. You have to be refining all the time what matters most to you. You see, the reason we're complaining because we're overwhelmed is because we're not getting clarity. The whole point of this episode here is start the new year with one thing in mind, and that is clarity. So let's chunk this up again. To summarize, the key point here is to focus on building a manager's point of view to achieve your goals in real estate in 2018. And we do that by, number one, focusing on what went right and building on top of that, not what went wrong and beating yourself up, because there's a lot you'd be throwing out that you can build on, right? Sure, throw out the bad stuff, but don't throw out the good stuff. Build upon it. Point number two, make room for the manager in between the visionary or the entrepreneur that you are and the technician or salesperson that you are. Fight for that manager's point of view. What would the manager do to manage the whole system of marketing, the whole system of conversion? And if you can get up at that manager's viewpoint, which is a little bit higher than the technical work down on the assembly line, I think you're going to see that it's relatively easy to do. And ultimately, if you get like me, you might become a little bit addicted to doing that because you realize when something is not managed, it is chaotic and you're doing this business on muscle. Point number 3, set a clear revenue goal. Just get it right in front of you. Write it down. What is the number? Is it 40,000 to 60,000, 100, 250, 500, a million, 5 million, whatever it is. And I know I talk to all of you at different levels. So those are all the points that I talk about. But set it for yourself. And make it reasonable based on where you are, stretch it a little bit. And if you want a real stretch goal, something that really propels you into the future 4 or 5 years down, great, write that too. But the key one is the realistic goal that you can hit. Point number 4, commit with all you have to conversion and follow-up. I just can't emphasize this enough. I start to think some days that the Realty Classroom is founded on that one key cornerstone to try to get real estate agents to understand they don't have to do this on muscle if they'll just build out consistency when it comes to follow-up and conversion with leads, prospects, clients, past clients, etc. And ultimately, point number 5 is just resist the urge to whine and complain in 2018, condition the brain. It's going to happen. I still do it on a regular basis, but I talked about this before. It's the difference between a fixed mindset. When we are fixated on complaining, we're stuck in that fixed idea that we can't do what? Become a growth mindset. So the less you complain and whine about the difficulty of the circumstances that you'll face, the better off you are. So focus on building that manager's point of view and get these goals done in 2018. Now remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with our free video course over at freeagentgift.com. If you like what you've learned here, then we'd appreciate it if you would subscribe and help us share these insights by giving us a positive review on whichever platform you're listening so that other entrepreneurial real estate agents just like you can find their way right here to join us. Hey, thanks for listening, and we look forward to helping you in the next episode and especially in 2018.
You've been listening to The Realty Classroom with Danny Griffin. Join us next time to continue learning how to build a smarter real estate agent business plan that helps you live a more fulfilled life.